All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Guard Capital. Glad to be with you this morning on a Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. The markets this morning were green around the board as I typed up this headline. We're now pretty much flat right now. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it. Around the horn we go. Dow futures up 57 points. NASDAQ is down about 3. I do have a long position on NASDAQ futures. We also hit NASDAQ futures yesterday as well. So we're going to go over some charts here together. S&P 500 futures 43.71. That's green this morning. The Russell is down 0.03, pretty flat, 17.69. 10-year Treasury yields 4.7%. Bond market is open again. Dollar index is red, right at 106, that key level we've been watching. We need to get below 106. 1763 for the VIX, down 0.40%. Crude oil is down 0.57%, 85.88 a barrel. Gasoline futures are green, 0.29%. Good morning. Gold futures 1867, that's up 0.17%. Silver futures are red, 21.90. Copper futures down about 1.25%, $3.60. Taking a look at Forex land, 105.86 for the euro dollar, up 19 pips. Dollar yen did bounce yesterday, 149, or this overnight, up 47 pips. Pound dollar up 6 pips, 122.44. Pretty muted price action. Bitcoin futures are down 0.81% at 27,510. 1575 for Ethereum. That is down 0.41%. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the price action first on the S&P 500 futures. Give us some context on what's happening. Here we go. Here's a 4-hour chart. Now you could say that this was the head and shoulders setup, even though we broke up the initial head and shoulders setup. But again, we got that push and that back breakdown. We talked about how important this October trend line was that linked up with October of last year. We talked about as long as this trend line held up, which we actually broke but bounced above, we're going to be okay. We want to stay above the 200-day. The longer we're above the 200-day as October goes, the odds are in our favor that we're going to go higher. And why do I say that? Because of seasonality, just a reminder. So I did post another chart regarding seasonality. This is from the market year. Seasonality is about to kick in right here. You could see it, but again, this is just index seasonality in general. The one we've been looking at is the pre-election seasonality, where you get the drop down in terms of the S&P 500 in October. But as we look at that data, if you guys remember, the year, a pre-election year, there's one year in particular that stands out in that October, and that was 1987. So again, that may skew the numbers. So October, that's where stocks tend to bottom for the year. The question is, what price do we bottom? And you can see here on the volatility index, again, fading towards Q4. So we are expecting some kind of relief rally or end of the year rally. I say end of the year rally to all-time highs. We may even get a little close, not exactly there, but that's what I'm expecting. Back to the S&P 500 on the daily, you can see how important getting back to this support level is, 43.65. That's why that yellow line is right there. This zone right here is the exact zone that we have held on from June and August, and then we finally broke it down in September. The question is, do we retake it? If we get above the 20-day, that's a great sign. But before you get excited about buying the market today, tomorrow is PPI, Producer Price Index, inflationary reading for businesses and how much they pay for goods and services. Very, very important to understand that your risk going ahead to this event. We do know that we have some expectations. The question is it met? Tomorrow's PPI, 0.3% is the forecast. The previous was 0.7%, and the 0.2% reading on a core for PPI. But again, that's tomorrow before the market even opens. So you'll have no control over your options. If you have futures, that's different. You have a little more flexibility. If you have Forex, you definitely have some flexibility. But looking at the S&P 500, this is great price action. Yesterday was a nice recovery after all the headlines over the weekend, and then we had the gap down on Sunday. But getting above the 20-day will be very key for the bulls today. We need to get above 43.85. So we're not asking for the world today. We're asking to close above 43.85. 4,400 would be excellent. But again, let's temper expectations ahead of an event tomorrow as binary as inflationary readings. Now we can end up flat. But understand as well that we still have these headlines coming over from the Gaza Strip. And that can happen overnight. That can happen during the session. So you get volatility here and there. So taking a look at the S&P 500 spot, our money level, if you guys remember, not the same as futures, is 4,400. And again, you can see how clean we've been holding that trend line since October in this channel. So we're getting close. Not there yet. Let's see this CPI number. Let's see this PPI number as we go. Let's take a look quickly on the NASDAQ, and then we're going to answer some questions. I want to go over some of the trades we got over yesterday. Very similar price action to the S&P 500 in terms of support holding. You can see 14.6, a very, very hard support, way, way ways away from the 200-day. NASDAQ outperforming the S&P. We're above the 20. We're right on the 50-day. So that might be that kind of pivot point as we get into the PPI number tomorrow. 15,284 is my next target in terms of a fib level. After that, 15.5 or so, depending on how PPI and CPI is responded to the market. After that, the only thing we really have to focus on is our earnings reports, and that comes out during the rest of October. We do not have a Federal Reserve meeting this month, so at least we have a little bit of tailwinds with that. We don't have to worry about that, but we have obviously Fed speakers pretty much every day. So again, stay frosty and don't be surprised we get volatility here and there, especially the next 2 days. But NASDAQ looking pretty good. Let's take a look at Tesla together. Tesla, old reliable. That's what I say. Tesla's right here on this very, very important trend line. Right on it. So it's a very similar inflection point as NASDAQ futures, and you're right at the 20-day or right above it. So in terms of Tesla, I want to break 263.79. If we break that, I want to target the 275s to 280 calls. So that's what I'm looking for. If we reject down, we need to get below 247.88 to play shorts to 240. So again, inflection point, kind of fork in the road, left or right. That's pretty much where we're going. So we just have to wait and see, because this could be set up as a head and shoulders setup. This could be another recheck of this high, and this could be on the way going to this gap fill from earnings. And Tesla will have earnings again. Do we do a round trip in regards to Tesla earnings? That remains to be seen. Place your levels. Let the market dictate to you what's going to happen. SPY worth trading today, or are we expecting to get chopped? I like SPY actually. We do have a gap to fill at 438. If we get above 433, it's going to get compelling. At least with S&P 500 futures, we'd have a little more control, as we said. But again, tomorrow is that PPI number, so we got to be very careful. In terms of target, 433.75 is my target. We're at 432.61. That's not going to be enough to even squeeze out any profit worth doing in terms of timing. You'd have to do like tomorrow expire or same day expiry, and it's not worth it. But if you get a break above it and you want to be a little frosty ahead of the CPI and PPI number, expecting more upside, then you got to target 438.27. That's your gap fill on SPY. Again, very, very similar to that upward trend line that held, and especially the 200 days. So, could be setting up for that Christmas rally. I'm all for it. Let's take a look at the dollar. Alex is asking, how important is 106? Well, we're right at the 20-day. We want to get below these lows of 105.70. If the dollar goes down, we need to be keeping an eye on the euro. We need to keep an eye on the yen. We need to keep an eye on commodities. And of course, stocks. This is what we need. This right here, even getting back to this level here around 102.47, that would get that Q4 going. Seasonality kicks in. VIX pulls back. Yep, that fits the script. Anything could change. Nothing is certain. So again, day by day, but the script is setting up for more of a pullback into the dollar. If we can get to 102.48 by, let's say, December, we should be really near all-time highs on the S&P 500. But that's going to be very dependent on more factors than just the dollar, but the dollar being a big one. You're very welcome, James. Let's take a look at yesterday's price action. If you guys remember, we talked about Apple. Apple's sitting right at the 50-day MA. we caught Apple, the 180 calls, if you guys remember. Possibly hit some resistance here at 179.42 and the 50-day MA. I do expect 181.28 to break. We have a gap to fill as well. 181.28, that's the gap fill I'm looking for. These green marks, I believe, are the levels that we entered on some trades. But nice to get Apple. I'm happy that we got it. We stuck with our analysis. We held it over the weekend, and we were definitely rewarded for it. So well done. Got some people who got that Apple. Got some people who got Qs. There goes Apple right there. There you go. So very, very well done to the team on Apple. And then also we had Google. So Google we took for 35%, signaled that out. Take a look at this setup on Google rather quickly. Again, beautiful upward wedge. This should be breaking down, but we got the breakout. 139.99. I think we printed 139.97. That's the 52-week high on Google. If we expand a little bit more, and Google has been outperforming. Them and Facebook have been really the leaders in the clubhouse. There is a gap to fill as well at 140.72. I think we get there this week as well. With so little luck, we might get to 143.90 on Google. So we played Google last week. We closed a little too early. We got Google this week. We closed at 35%. But if we fill that gap and continue, I have no issues going for the 145 calls and keep hitting Google while the money is printing, let's just say. Let's see, Palantir. We sent Palantir yesterday. That was also part of the watch list on our blog. So if you are interested in joining, big shout out to Nick for posting that Palantir chart. We filled it yesterday. Let me see if I can get that for you guys. Here you go. This was from yesterday at 12:06 in the morning. The night owl, that is Nick DiGiacomo. Palantir 1680. We can play the 18 calls, targeting the previous breakdown point. Target above 20 and 23. So here is the actual chart. I also did it again here. And again, we were right here at 1718. We initially got 39% at the open, right when we got in. So then I did not close that. We got a pretty ugly pullback, at least on the hourly chart, as you can see. Right in the morning, this candle was not nice. Then we pulled back. Hope was kind of lost, but we had to wait. And here we are. We are now in the money on these calls. This was sent as well on the market blog in terms of the breakdown. So this morning, guys, if you're holding Palantir, we're in the money. If you're above 40%, just take it. I still think we have a little more juice. But if we're in that 100% range in the money, I'm just going to take it and leave a runner. 1878 is my next target on Palantir. But if you're looking for recapturing of July's highs, that's 2022. If we get above 1878, I may take a look at next week's 20s and see if we can catch that as well. Palantir and Tesla have been, I would say, in 2023, the best two stocks we've been trading, maybe other than Mara. Those are like kind of the three stocks that we've done better than most. And there's a couple of them that have just been absolute pains in the asses. One I can tell you is IWM. Apple has been here and there as well, but Tesla, Palantir, and Mara, those are the ones I'm always having my eyes out for. So we'll see what we get this morning. Nice to see that we're getting some in the money action on Palantir, getting that push, starting to be near highs of the session. So again, guys, if you're above 40, you're above 80, or whatever you feel, and you feel comfortable taking it, go for it. You let the runners do the job. Remember, tomorrow is PPI, so anything can happen, but the juice is there on Palantir. Let's see if it breaks that extra alert. Maybe we can buy the 120s, buy some time, and then we'll see where we go from there. But Palantir had some great volume. Great catch there by the team. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your morning, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next morning note. Cheers.